Incredible! This is
The Grove Podcast.
Hello, my name is Tabs and welcome to episode 126 of the Grove Podcast. Now, I hope you're all doing very, very, very well and have managed to regain some sort of composure following Gabriel's glorious last-minute winner against those Geordie thugs from the northeast. And all I can say is I know I haven't fully calmed down yet. And I think we should continue to drink it all in, all those salty tears. Newcastle wanted a fight and they got one and they lost. Now, due to train issues on the way up to Newcastle, I didn't get to see much of the game and I did get to see the good bits though, but more on that later. But so to tell me and you what happened and to help discuss the game is Ian making a welcome return, also aka Ask Ken and Picks. Ian, how are you? And is there anything you can trust more at the moment than an Arteta substitution?
The fog and the tyne is all mine, all mine. Fog and the tyne is all mine. Yeah, he's done well with the substitutions recently, hasn't he? Yeah, we'll get into that. But yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Tabs. It's good to be back. And yeah, what a game. I have to say, I said that I could come on and do this pod before the result, not because we won. So yeah, looking forward to it. And what a game it was.
Indeed. Look, win, lose or draw, you're always welcome, always welcome. So, so look, talking of the substitutes, that's 4 matches in a row. Arsenal have had a substitute come on and score. And also yesterday, the substitutes provided a goal and an assist. So, as I said, it's one of the things you can trust most in the world. Death, taxes, and Arteta substitutions providing a goal or an assist. So there we go. So. Today we will mostly be reveling in that superb yet contentious 2-1 win against Newcastle at St James's Park, and then we'll have a quick look ahead, bringing together our collective knowledge of Olympiacos as we talk about the preview of the Champions League game, our second game at home at Emirates on Wednesday. So there we go. Before we get to do that, as always, a favour to ask. If you can follow, like, subscribe, comment, leave a rating, just all that jazz on the socials, on the podcast feeds, on the apps, that would be greatly appreciated. Our numbers are growing a little bit at a time. Every episode we seem to get a few more, so really appreciate it. And the more you share, the more you like, the more you comment, the more you subscribe, the more it gets out to other people's ears. So,
and Tabs has agreed that if we get another 100 followers, he's going to do the pod after that in his nip. So there you go.
Well, I think that might bring us down rather than up. So let's see. I could do it from the waist down, and then I don't care. So there we go. All right. Anyway, so enough of that. Let's get on with the show. And as we always do, Ian, what was your highlight and low light from the Newcastle game?
Well, the obvious highlight is there, isn't it, with Gabriel, and the absolute limbs that I can imagine happened. You were very lucky to be there, Tabs, and I'd say it was absolutely mental. But yeah, the Gabby winner was just sensational. We've owed that lot up there for a long time. We've had some poor performances there in the last few years. So to have that moment was just unbelievable. My low light was just having to endure. I don't want to go on about the referee already, but just having to endure such a piss poor performance from a Liverpool fan. And again, we'll get into all of that in a little while. But yeah, that and learning another niche rule that we seem to learn only when it comes to Arsenal. That,
is this to do with the towels?
That you're not allowed to take a towel from somebody else. That's my towel. So it's that was another low light, which I found funny to be fair as well.
I did see something about that. It has to be all agreed up front in terms of towels, and they be strategically placed around the ground. And so you just can't go and say, "Oh, Nick, can I borrow your towel, please, for this long throw in?" So we learned something new that day. But yeah, I think the ref was just he's right. No, you just can't take his towel. And to be honest, if I was the goalkeeper, I'd be like, no, what are you doing? So yeah, good on Calafiori for being cheeky, but
it just reminded me. The ref reminded me when he went over and took the towel off Calafiori. It was like two siblings, and one had stolen the other's toy, and Daddy had to go over and take it back off one and give it to the other. I was like, what is going on?
It would have been funny if the ref gave it a towel whip and tried to nip Calafiori with a towel whip. So that would have been funny. So yeah, you're. I mean, in terms of your highlight, this is what Bukayo Saka said, unbelievable. Nothing better than a late winner in football. Speechless. I'm so happy. And I think Bukayo speaks for us all there. Indeed, there's no other feeling in the world quite like a last minute winner. And this one just had added sauce, just had something extra to it. And the cries of joy, the limbs, the exhilaration, the rush, hugging strangers, like you've seen that pitch for the video clip from Connor Hume going on the socials, and there's me hugging some 60 year old man behind me. Moz is going mental. So yeah, there is absolutely nothing like it, and I always say I feel sorry for those that don't get the opportunity to experience this in their life, because you just cannot replicate this anywhere in the world. So you're right. That is a massive, massive highlight. Look, for me, in terms of highlights and lowlights, I'm going to start with the lowlight. So I had a bit of a crazy day yesterday. So I was doing the Ealing half marathon in the morning with my brother, but I only did part of it because he's a bit slower than me. So I did like the first 7-8K with him, and then I basically had to say, "See, I've got a train to catch." So I sort of up the tempo, finished that off, hot-footed it across London to King's Cross to catch the 12:30 train up to Newcastle, and I made good time, so I got there earlier. So I managed to change it to an earlier train. I got the ticket to allow me to train it, and then it all started to go pear-shaped due to a broken track somewhere up north. There was a delay after delay. I had to change trains, then further delays. And then the train had to come to a sudden stop because there was a trespasser on the tracks, but it was a different track. What they do, apparently, they report an 11-mile radius if there's a trespasser on any tracks, and they all have to stop. So basically, I ended up stuck on a train, ended up watching the first half of the game, standing behind two different sets of people whilst they're watching on their iPhones and switching between iPhone to iPhone depending on which one got reception and which one was further on. So I watched watching on other people's games, and I watched, I think, about the first half doing that, and then eventually we pulled up into Newcastle around 5:45. So second half had already started, and luckily I still had my running shoes on, so I sprinted. And it's uphill to St. James's Park, but I sprinted up to St. James's Park. And actually, I'd looked this up, and there was no guarantee they would let me in.
Yeah.
Because you're there so late and all the stewards are inside. But luckily, me and a couple of other fellas turned up at the Arsenal entrance, and there was a few stewards there. They explained, I think they knew about it, and they let us in. And yeah, so a bit of a low light. It was just a bit of a shambles on the trains.
Bit of a mess to get there. Wow.
Yeah, a bit of a mess. So, but the highlight being, they let us in. I got to use the lift. I didn't have to climb all those stairs. If you don't know, the way end of Newcastle is in the gods, and my legs were feeling a bit sore, but they let us use the lift. And when I actually got in there, it was about 25 minutes to go, and I see Moz from this pod and our mate. I forgot his bloody name. Got his name now, Andy Leach. I can't. Andy, that's it, Andy. They were sort of front row of the upper tier section, and managed to stand with them. And then it was the best 20 minutes of football I've seen in a long time. And to couple that, we saw the equaliser, saw Big G's winner, and then walking out the stadium at the end was just such fun. The Newcastle fans were so angry, and I wasn't showing my colours, but I had the biggest smile on my face that you could just tell I was an Arsenal fan. So
you had a red and white smile.
I did indeed. All the hassle of the trains was worth it for that. It was just so worth it just to get there for that bit. It was great. So, and is
it still the same in St. James's Park, where when you get to the bottom, I've been there a few times, and when you get to the bottom, you're kind of in an area where like their fans are right across from you. Like they come down their stairs, the Arsenal fans, the away fans come down their stairs, and all that's separating you is probably about, I don't know.
No, you don't see them coming out the stairs, but literally as you come out your bit onto the sort of underneath whatever the stand is, and then you walk down there, then you very much merge
Yeah,
into Arsenal fans very quickly. Oh yeah. It's you get
at the
very
very
merged very
bottom. Yeah,
quickly. Yeah, yes, at the bottom. Yeah, so Andy was. Yeah, because there was like a barrier and he was being very brave and chanting away, and there was a few Arsenal fans and all the rest of it. And but the less the barriers got, I said, okay, it's like, I'm going to dial it down a bit. But they were unhappy campers, and who gives a shit? So what was a low light turned into a highlight, and luckily on the way home there were no issues, so got back in at home by 1:00. But so yeah, bit of a manic day, bit of a crazy day, but I was floating on the way home. I didn't need a train, just floated all the way back. So there we go. Okay, that's our highlights and lowlights. So look, in terms of the game itself, the lineup. So we had Raya, Timber, Mosquera, Gabriel, Calafiori, Zubimendi, Rice, Eze, Trossard, Saka, and Gyōkeres. So I think thoughts on that lineup. Obviously, Mosquera in for Saliba,
yeah.
Odegaard on the bench, and Trossard playing, and Eze in central midfield, attacking midfielder. So, what were your thoughts when you saw that?
Yeah, I was surprised that Mosquera started for Saliba, but I was thinking maybe because he did play 90 minutes against Port Vale. So it couldn't really have been fitness, I didn't think. But then I was thinking, has he put Mosquera in because Newcastle have a 9'3" kind of striker there? So I was a little bit surprised by that, and not 100% surprised that Saliba came on. No disrespect to Mosquera, we'll get into that later on. I was delighted to see Odegaard on the bench, but I was thinking now, as it came to pass, he only played the last few minutes really. What a cameo, by the way. Because I thought if he's the age old argument, if he's fit enough to be on the bench, why isn't he starting? And you think we probably should have started him, but it was obvious and clear that he couldn't have even managed half an hour, let alone any more. So plus now it's different. We have Eze in there. We have a little bit of creativity just behind the front three. So it didn't hit us as hard. But yeah, other than that, I was a little bit surprised at Trossard again. Ole. I thought that Martinelli might have started, but other than that, and I was surprised that Manieri wasn't on the bench. I know that's not the starting lineup, but I don't know if he was injured. I don't know. Did you hear anything?
Is there any news about that? Because Dauman has said I've not seen anything about that, so it'd be interesting.
Yeah,
to understand
and especially with Odegaard not being available, you would think Manieri would have been on the bench. So my guess is that he has some form of a knock. So we'll see.
It's a strange one. There's no news. There was nothing mentioned beforehand. I've not heard anything afterwards. I haven't done a huge amount of searching, and I've not seen anything on the socials. So whatever it is kept under wraps massively, or is just it's a non-issue. It's like type thing. So look, I mean, I think you're right. I think I was surprised with Saliba. Saliba, he played the full 90, so maybe he's still a bit feeling it. Maybe he had a reaction to the game. I think that was the whole point of Port Vale. See what happens. If you get a reaction, well, thank God we have someone like Mosquera that can now come in and do a job in there. And we're not having to force the issue with Saliba. And granted, he came on at half time, so maybe to manage it. Yeah, interesting one. And I think, as you said, look, Saliba is now our defender for the next 100 years. He's one of the best defenders in the world, the partnership. So maybe we just saw something there that, okay, we need to bring you on half time, and that's fine. But it's a bit like that. If you're fit enough to be on the bench, you're fit enough to start. So it's a funny one, but it didn't seem to harm us too much in the end.
No.
And Trossard on the left, I think that's more to do with the way we're in peak Trossard, by the way, at the moment. Sub, gets a goal or an assist, starts, does nothing, sub, goal, assist. It's just peak the Trossard cycle.
Yeah.
We're there. So he started, but I think yesterday, from a tactical perspective, a lot of our attacking play is vertical runners, forward, and also especially with Calafiori outside the left. It means he can maybe come in. He's a bit more lateral sometimes to his detriment, where he runs across the pitch with the ball and gives it away. But he's a bit more lateral. He comes in. He can add an extra man into midfield, a bit more creativity in the midfield, overload that midfield, and stuff like that. So I think maybe it's tactically there. Whereas again, Martinelli is another vertical player. So then you've got Martinelli, you got Gyōkeres, you got Eze, you got Rice, you got Calafiori, Timber, all vertical players. So maybe just add something a bit different, and to counterbalance some of the stuff, and there we go. So there we go. But yeah, again, we've got our starters, we've got our finishers, we've got a squad, we've got a team, and I think we can mix and match, and we have been doing. And as we said at the beginning of the intro, the subs are making a difference. And look, as I think one of the main things about going up to Newcastle, and I'll go through the stats, is we've sometimes gone there and dominated the stats, but only because we've gone down early. And they're basically, Newcastle would just say, right, fine, we're going to sit in a low block and you can't pass. What happened yesterday was that we were actually dominating and we were playing the better football. And we had throughout the whole game, we had 63% possession to 37%, 2.04 XG to their 0.61, 20 shots to their 8, and we had 7 O's on target to their 3. We had 4 big chances to their 1. We missed 3 big chances. And our passing accuracy was better. This was the ironic stat. We had more fouls committed than them, 9 to their 8, which I don't get.
Just crazy.
But it's great. And then a set piece again, Ole, 12 corners, with numbers 11 and 12 making the difference. So, and even the field tilt, it's just all red. There's a few spikes of black, but it's just, we just dominated in all aspects of the game, even the fouling. So, look, what were your overall thoughts on the game? How we played? The performance. How did it make you feel? How did you? How did you? Overall thoughts on the game.
I thought I think it's by far our best performance this season. I think we were really, really good, especially in the first half. Like, I think the penalty not being given kind of stopped us in our tracks a little bit, and Newcastle kind of picked up a little bit from there. But across that first half in particular, I thought we were really good. We created some really good chances. Trossard should have scored. Like Nick Pope's save against Eze at the start, or Eze. By the way, I'm never going to be able to say Eze, I don't think. I think I'm going to have to stick with Eze. That save was exactly like Donnarumma's against Trossard at the Emirates for PSG. It was an incredible save. The more you look at it, the more impressive it is. And I just thought we were really, really good, really, really solid. We're not afraid of... Newcastle don't seem to be as solid as last season, going by their start so far. So that has to be factored in. But I think I think we bullied them. We weren't afraid of them. We've gone up there in the past and kind of shied away a little bit, and got intimidated by the atmosphere. But from almost the first minute, we kept that crowd quiet. Now, obviously, they got their goal, but the only thing that surprised me really was that it took so long for us to get the equaliser. I fully expected us to score even before half time. That's how dominant we were. So yeah, I thought it was really, 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 really impressive, and we'll get into some individual performances in a little while. But yeah, I loved Gyökeres' performance. But yeah,
actually, I do want to get onto Gyökeres, and not now. So we'll talk about it in a bit. Just because when it got into the ground, and maybe it was our perspective or something like that, there was a few chances towards the end. One, I think, when he slipped over and hit it over. A couple of times where he could have shot first time and dallied. And the people next to me, well, Moz and Andy, we're calling him shit. Actually, let's talk about that. We're calling that was, oh, he's shit. He's so shit. Oh my God, he's shit. And then look, the emotion of the moment, you're missing, you're frustrating, you want to get back into the game. The chance is there. He hasn't taken. But everything else I've read about it, and all I've seen is the match of the day highlights of what happened, so not the full game. But everything I've read and everything I've heard is that this was his best game for Arsenal. He was linking up play. He was giving the Newcastle defenders grief. He was making runs. Everything all around. So yeah, tell me more about his performance. Yeah, what impressed you about it?
He was really, really dogged. I think in the first few games he's been guilty of, like, when the ball's played up to him, it doesn't stick to him, or he was getting pushed off the ball sometimes. But this game he was getting in front of his defenders. He was bullying them. He was harassing them. Now he was getting it back. The biggest miracle of this game is that not one free kick was given for a foul on Gyōkeres, and there must have been, I'd say, of the 8 fouls Newcastle committed, it could have been double that with Gyōkeres. He was much more efficient, I think, and he was bringing players into the game. He should have had a goal from a penalty that was never given. We'll get on to that, and yeah, it gave me a lot of heart for his future, because there were a few times in other games where I thought, God, he's getting shoved off the ball a little bit too easy. And when you're able to do that away at Newcastle, again, when their defenders are 9'4" as well, it's he just really impressed me. I remember posting at the time on X that this was by far his best game, and that was only after about 25 minutes or something I posted that. So I'd urge you to go back and watch the game. It was really good. He was very, very good, I thought.
No, good. It's good. No, it's good to see, because I think, the chat yesterday was just more frustration of the moment and just the reaction.
Yeah,
and also well done for your performance. While I'm trying to sort something out with the battery distracting you, the hell you carried on like a true pro.
I thought you were having a fit.
No, I might need to plug in the computer, but the computer's over there. I couldn't take my head in, but whatever. I'll sort it out. Very pleased to see. And that statistic. There's the pitch. Yeah, how he didn't get a single free kick awarded against him. Yeah, that again, that's the statistics I've heard and for what I've seen. It is crazy. And look, for me yesterday, and as I said on the preview pod, on Friday, everything was set up for Arsenal to get a kicking, both on and off the pitch, and we did it. All the lazy narratives and agendas had already been written by the pundits, waiting, for us to prove them right. We had Liverpool supporting Jared Gillett as the ref, and I think also the VAR has associations with Liverpool, and we also know Newcastle get ref differently. They're allowed to get away with being overly physical. That's Newcastle, and that's who they are, and you can't book everyone, right? So they don't end up booking anyone, and so it's so frustrating. But that's what makes this win so much more satisfying.
Yeah,
always seem to be up against it. We always seem to be up against it when we play at St James's Park. Everything about them, they raise it when they play us. They don't like us, we don't like them, and so this was a very big fuck you to everyone, to Newcastle, to every Eddie Howe, his minion Tyndall, the PGML, VAR, all the pundits who are waiting for us to fail. And look, as you said, and I managed to grasp this from the bits that I was watching on the people's phones, was that we went up there and played some really good football, played some great football.
Yeah.
And we could have felt sorry for ourselves and oh, here we go again. But in the end, we got what we deserved and they got what they deserved, because I think they're just a bunch of bullies, and like all bullies, and like I think you said, they don't like it when you give it back to them, give them some of their own medicine. And look, they've built this identity on being thugs, which the media labels as passionate, but we gave as good as they got, and they are now. And the thing is, like all bullies, the biggest crybabies when their bullying doesn't work, and it's so sweet.
Yeah, it was so nice. It was so funny to see. I posted a couple of things after the game that on X, and some of the Newcastle lads jumped on, and they were posting pictures of what they were deemed as fouls and stuff, and but the exact same things were happening to our players as well. Like who was the defender? He basically did the Bane celebration for Gyōkeres for him. He grabbed his mouth. Like they're so childish. I think the Newcastle fans, they do not like it when you do it back to them.
Yeah. No, indeed. And look, I'm not here today for the tactical analysis, primarily because I missed most of the game. So happy to focus on the emotion, happy to focus on these aspects. And yeah, look, we outplayed them, we outfought them, we stood up when we needed to, and actually, if it wasn't for a decent display by Pope in goal and VAR, it could have been a lot more. So, and you know what? I'll suffer these injustices if we get this ending every day of the week. So cry more, Newcastle, cry more.
Yeah, cry more, and also cry Gary Neville. One of the highlights, actually, now that I think of it, was when we got the first goal. Gary Neville said, "Now, if you really want, if you're made of champions, stock, you go on and win this game." And then when we scored the goal, he was he was audibly absolutely devastated. You've heard some of the noises he's made when there's been late winners in big games.
Yeah.
Like it's like he's having an orgasm, and this
Yeah.
just like they've actually gone and done it. Like I'm absolutely devastated, and it was music to my ears.
Yeah. No, indeed. As I said, that was all part of it. They were waiting us to fail. And actually, even on Sky TV, I think they had some programming later on in the day, which was all around Newcastle. So they expected the Arsenal to get a kicking, expected Arsenal to be losing, and then they would have this Newcastle loving afterwards. So yeah, it was all set up. So it was very, very pleasing that we did that. So, and look, onto the first half, and I think as you said, and I think one of the biggest jobs that we had to do was quieting the crowd, and we did that by playing football. And yeah. So it was very subdued, and the idea is not to give them any momentum, because once you're up there, they are a loud crowd. They get stuck in, and it's just this sort of momentum that they get up. So I think we did quite well, but Newcastle set out their stall straight away. The second minute, Joel Linton's foul on Saka. Now Saka was lucky to bounce back up, but that was quite nasty. But again, second minutes is Joel Linton. Oh, can't do that. But it was quite nasty.
It was a bad tackle, yeah. And see, Newcastle players know they are reffed a little bit different at home. There's no doubt about that. And when it's early in a game, players like Joe Linton, probably Bruno as well, think that
free hit.
Free hit. I can try and lay one on a very important player, and nothing's going to happen. And so it proved.
Yeah. And then we had that as a shot, Eza shot, and right, Pope made a brilliant save. And what a start that would have been after 6 minutes. But the biggest talking point was the non-penalty for Arsenal. So look, we were playing the ball forward quickly, and then I think it broke to Gyōkeres. I think maybe was it Saka trying to play it through, or did it Newcastle play it back? I don't know.
Yeah, it came off. So Saka was the ball kind of bounced around, and Saka was trying to get a hold of it, and then bounced to a Newcastle player, and he tried to pass it back to Pope, and that's when Gyökeres was actually quite sharp. If you watch the footage again, you can see that he could see what was about to happen, and he made the run, and that enabled him to get the ball just before Pope. And
anticipated it, and he's going on through, puts the ball past Pope. Well, no, he doesn't put it past Pope, because Pope got a toe to it. And then takes, and then, okay. So according to Dermot Gallagher today, and according to what happened, Pope sort of stopped his motion, so he put his foot down, but didn't carry on through. In doing so, he clipped the ball went wide. Look, I don't know. It looks like a penalty. It's one of these ones. I think I don't know. What are your thoughts? Did you think a Stonewall penalty? Are you undecided? I know Jamie of the Grove podcast was happy with the decision, it not being a penalty. But yeah, thoughts on the penalty? No penalty.
When it first happened, I was like, absolute Stonewall penalty, and I just thought, brilliant. Gyökeres is going to bury this. We're 1-0, and let's move on. And then they start showing the replays, and the more and more they just kept when they do that, like they just replayed like that 1 second where the ball hits off Pope's foot, and I was thinking this is going to be overturned. And now it did happen to Aaron Ramsdale a couple of seasons ago, a few seasons ago, where the exact same thing happened. He got a touch on the ball, referee gave a penalty, and it was overturned. So from that perspective, we can kind of say, okay, we worked in our favour and against us. But what does annoy me, and it was doing the rounds, the clip of Howard Webb when he was talking to Michael Owen on that stupid show, with the Saliba incident last season. Do you remember the header? And the description that Howard Webb gave as to why it was a penalty literally describes why our one should have been a penalty against Newcastle yesterday. That's what annoys me. It's not so much that the penalty wasn't given. I can understand why it wasn't given, but it's just, and yes, we benefited from it with Ramsdale a few seasons ago. But when you see that happening with Saliba last season, that's what gets to me. It really annoys me.
Yeah, I mean, a few ways of looking at this. I mean, if that was Raya, would you say, fair enough, that's a penalty?
I was thinking that.
Yeah. But the thing that gets me is it's more the re-reffing of the game and the way VAR handled this, because the US feed, you could hear the commentator. I can't remember who it was, and he was actually saying, "Oh, they're really trying to direct him to a decision. They're really trying
Yeah.
to look. Hey,
Yeah.
oh, have you seen this? Or no, you should."
Yeah.
And the whole idea is that they're not re-reffing the game. The bar for VAR, for getting involved is meant to be threshold is meant to be higher, and so who's in charge? Who's reffing the game? So decision either way. But and the idea about it being a clear and obvious error. Well, was this clear and obvious? Again, Jamie thinks it was because it hits his toe, and that. But the fact that you have to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth is that clear and obvious? So it's this whole mess and the contradictions and the inconsistencies and so on. So look, it's all part of the story of our final victory. So maybe it was what was meant to be. But I think it's just that re-reffing. So and actually on to Kavanagh, I think he actually got the big decisions right. Allowing Newcastle to be absolutely thuggish is wrong, but then we talk other decisions in a second. But I don't think he did. But it's just how the VAR intervention there, it just didn't smell right, and just the way they did it just didn't smell right. But it's the way it happens. We didn't get the penalty,
and look, thankfully, it didn't matter.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't want to be here, us bemoaning referees again, moaning about what they've done, how they've cost us points, and all this. And maybe there's other elements of today where it fell in Arsenal's favour as well. But I just didn't want it to be about that. So we will talk about it. But the primary emotion is joy and Schadenfreude. And look, then after that, we have another chance. Trossard hits the post, with a great shot, great move. Maybe he could have done better. I think maybe go across the keeper rather than near post. So that was my only gripe with that. But then Eze had a volley, but Pope's in decent position to make a save. Looked nice, but you expect him to save that. And then as this happens, and as is very last season, we have all the play, all the shots, all the attacks, and then Newcastle go 1-0 up. Mosquera back pass back to Raya, and it's a corner to Newcastle. Then they take a short corner, and I think it's Tonali crosses it in. Voltemade, however you pronounce it, he's there, just lays two hands on Gabriel. I don't think he pushes him. I think Gabriel should be stronger. Maybe Gabriel's weight is already going forward. Maybe he's off balance. It's not a foul,
No, it's not a foul.
He's left with a free header, and it's 1-0. So so you're in agreement. It's not a foul. You don't think it was a foul?
No. If that's a foul, then the Premier League games would never finish because there'd be a foul every 5 seconds.
Yeah,
exactly. It just brought back the game from a few years ago where there was a push with two hands. The goal that was given, was the ball over the three decisions, was the ball over the line or not, and then that was a push, but this one wasn't. It just simply wasn't.
Yeah, just has to be stronger. I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. He's off balance, but if not, then he has to be stronger and not look for that. So 1-0, and it's just going 1-0 to them at their place. You just know what's going to happen. You just know it's just going to be a low block, mid block. They're going to kick it. They're going to delay the game. They're going to stop everything. It's just going to be the most frustrating, whatever it is, 60 minutes there afterwards. And it was just sort of like, here we go again. And then the next main incident after that, which maybe we got away with, maybe we didn't. I know Big G goes and lets Voltemade know what a twat he is, and but there was not a lot in it. I think I saw something today in terms of the fact that because when he was striking, for want of a better word, Voltemade sort of running off the ball.
When he gently leant into Voltemade.
Yeah, there you go. But because it rode up the shoulder and into his face, that it wouldn't be a red card offence because it's not a direct into the face. It's more like a riding up thing. So maybe if a yellow, so therefore they couldn't re-referee it. But it was a lot of pearl clutching by the Newcastle fans, as you say, and have a bit of self-awareness. It said Gyōkeres all day, Bruno and Jorginho, a few years back. And look, he could have gone down clutching his face and made a big deal of it. Luckily, he didn't, and that goes to show there was nothing in it. It's just like So I don't think we got away with that. I think it was just there was nothing to see here. But
Yeah.
Gabriel, maybe not the wisest thing to do again. So so there we go. So
Yeah, and I'd like to see Gabriel calm down a little bit in those situations. There was another period as well where Gabriel he was just chasing the ref nearly. He just wouldn't leave the ref alone, and it was like, will you just walk away? Like he does it in other games as well.
Yeah.
And I love Big Gabby, love the passion.
Oh, yeah.
That's what makes him the player that he is. But sometimes he just needs to kind of check himself a little bit, I think.
Just chill out. But yeah, I guess you can't have one without the other. But
yeah,
it came to nothing, and so there we go. So 1-0. Still in it. I don't think this was like games of old where we weren't creating anything, doing anything. So we could see chinks of armor. This is Newcastle of a different season. They're not as good as they have been like last year. And yeah, but they bunkered down. The second half it was like, right, try and break us down. You can't normally do it, so we're going to just bank on that and play on the break. And this goes to showing the stats. We had 73% possession in the second half. 11 shots, 1.14 xG, 3 on target, 2 big chances. And 7 corners. So there was only one team trying to, obviously Arsenal trying to get back into it, and then afterwards, win it. So Saliba came on for Mascara. Just more of the same, and see what we can do. But yeah, I noticed Newcastle don't get any grief for playing defensive at home, winning 1-0 against Arsenal. So
no.
Again, it just goes to show that the narratives and agendas are.
And just to force home how only one team was trying to win it. I don't know if you noticed this, but maybe it was different in stadium. But I know I'm jumping.
I don't know. I wasn't there at this time.
No, what I'm about to say is about the very end of the game.
Okay.
So the board goes up. It's 1-1. You're like Newcastle are playing at home.
Oh yes.
The board goes up. 8 minutes injury time.
Yeah.
And usually the crowd would be like, yes, come on. Yeah. I felt as though they were like, oh no. Like, I don't know, was it like that in the stadium? Was it kind of
the only ones cheering were the Arsenal. The only ones would go, great, 8 minutes is the Arsenal fans. I
thought that it came across, and that kind of proves kind of how
their mentality. Yeah, there was only one team that was going to be in it. They were playing on a break, but I think they realised, oh shit, we're in trouble here.
Yeah.
No, definitely that was it was the Arsenal fans that were cheering 8 minutes, and they were the ones that were like trying to suck the ball into the net. So there we go. So look, again, Pope comes to the rescue again for Newcastle in 59th minute. Great little chip by Zubimendi. Timber sort of quite central and just sort of helps it along with a bit of power, and just an excellent save by Pope to put it around the post, and then they made a raft of substitutions, going to 5 at the back, so really bunkering in on 67. Then we made a few subs ourselves on 70, so Saka and Calafiori off, Merino and Martinelli on, and a lot of people like, okay, interesting, and but very attacking. Saka's obviously still getting some fitness back in, and it's a brave move. You're taking off your best player, you need a goal. It's a really, really brave move to do that. But I think you could sense that I think we're getting to the stage where fresher legs, depending on the game, depending on how Saka is, fresher legs are better than an injured Saka who can't who can't get into the game as much, and maybe just to offer something different.
It's good to see. It's good to see Arteta kind of protecting Saka a little bit as well. We have the squad now to be able to do that. So it was kind of surprising, but after you take the emotion out of it, it was the right thing to do, I think.
Yeah, and with Merino, look, we're going to be putting balls in the box. He's got his height as it worked out. So yeah, and look, we then went like 2-3 at the back. Rice was sort of covering at left back, but it was a very attacking formation, and there was even some points where we were like playing 2-1-7 in an attacking formation. So we were going for it, but shit or bust. So we have those couple of Gyōkeres chances that didn't come off, and then on comes, I think, the game changer. So Zubimendi off, Odegaard on, And as you said, what a cameo. Odegaard showing what he can do, say back to his best, but that's a very bold statement. But this is the Odegaard we love. This is the Odegaard we know. On the ball, demanding the ball, pass and move, lend it to others. That one pass he did for MLS was just beautiful to put him through, and it was a great defensive tackle. Otherwise, he's sliding that through to Gyōkeres. He was probing and so on, and not soon afterwards. So I think he made the biggest difference out of all our subs. And then not soon afterwards, 84th minute, Merino gets an equaliser. So it's a corner. Again, set piece FC again, but this time we actually take a short corner, play it around. Odegaard back to Rice. Rice curled it first time. It's just begging to be headed in, but even then, it's not an easy header.
No,
and Merino just gets the header off and in off the post. Pope is rooted to the spot, and cue pandemonium.
I'd say so.
And then look, in terms of Merino. So in terms of Merino, Merino is Arsenal's top scorer across all competitions in 2025, nine in all competitions, 7 in the Premier League, and 4 of his 9 goals this year have been scored with a head, with no Premier League player letting more headers in that period. So again,
but he's too defensive, Tabs. He's too defensive.
I know. Stop it. We still don't know what he is, but we know how important he is for our team, and this was set up for him back at Newcastle. But 2 defenses, that's bullshit. That he's not. The funny is, the closer he gets to our goal, the worse he gets. So he's definitely not. He's not a 10. He's not a creative player, but he's just there. He's something. He can score goals. He can be important. He can knit play together. If he doesn't have to think about it, he can do a really good job. And this is again, he doesn't have to think about this. We know how good he is with his head. So and with his feet as well. So it's amazing. He's like, but if we can't describe what he is or who he is, then the opposition can't. So and only Arteta and the team know what he does, and that's fine by me.
Yes, so, and I completely forgotten that moment that he used to play for Newcastle as well. It came back to haunt them.
Yeah, indeed. So, and the other thing is, since joining Arsenal ahead of the 2023-24 campaign, Declan Rice has assisted more goals from set plays, 10, than any other player in the Premier League. So again, they just goes to show the quality of our delivery from set pieces, and it's the same with Odegaard for the winner. We're just like, at corners, at free kicks, from the widths. We're so blessed to have people who can just put a ball in. Now, were you ready to take a point? Then I was in the stadium saying, take a point and go home. We've got out of Dodge. Or could you sense there was a winner?
I could sense a winner. I like I said earlier
or
on.
Another goal. Maybe not a winner, but could you sense another goal?
Yeah, I definitely could. And I thought we were going to get one earlier than the Merino goal. I for the whole game, I thought this is here for us if we want it. Of course, your mind starts going, okay, 1-1, having been 1-0 down at a tough ground. You maybe take it, but then you think Liverpool won here. They didn't deserve to, but Liverpool got a winner here. And the game had set into a pattern of just attack versus defend versus attack, and I just sensed it was coming. So I never dwelt on accepting a draw, because I was standing in front of my TV. I was nearly playing football with them. I felt it was coming. So it's not that I wouldn't have taken a draw. I just, in that moment, I wasn't comprehending a draw.
Yeah. No, okay, no, maybe, I was feeling a bit, all right, you're right, it's not a bad result in the scheme of the league and where we are. You want the 3 points, but I guess it's that fear of losing rather than going for the win.
Yeah,
and look, our players knew it. You could see there was a bit of a mini celebration between Rice and Merino, and then Rice was right, let's go, and everyone was rushing back. We were trying to get the ball out the back of the net, so I think the players could sense, or they knew, no, 1-1 is not enough. We're going for the win, and then and then there's another talking point. Oh, and there's a goal. Maybe there was another goal coming, and on 86 minutes, I think Zelanga is down the right, goes to try and cross it, and Big G comes along and slides to block it. but he's sort of sliding with his arm up. I mean, I'm sort of thinking in the ground, well, where's he supposed to? You can't slide with your arm by the side. Where are you supposed to put your arms? But maybe it did look quite making himself bigger, and there was a shout for handball, and everyone around going, well, it shouldn't be a handball. What is he supposed to do? Yeah, but it sounded, but it was at the other end, and luckily, I'd say because it skimmed off his shin or rose off his shin onto his arm, that anything that's deflected is not given as a handball these days. So it was checked and not given. And again, Kavanagh got that right in real time. So yeah, because that would have been, again, we put all that effort in to come down, and Newcastle in their first chance at going forward in the second half, and they get a penalty, but they didn't. So there we go.
When it first happened, and I saw where Gabby's arm was, I just thought, oh no. And yes, fair play to the ref, because he did get it right in real time. But I did have an absolute heart and mouth moment, as we all did. But thankfully he did the right thing.
Indeed, it didn't, because just I'm not sure how I just don't know how the crowd would have reacted if they had got a penalty off VAR. And then we need to get some sort of semblance of defence back on, even though we were going for the win. So Trossard off and MLS on, because we had no left back. So again, it just regained some sort of shape and a bit more. Okay, look, there's about 10 minutes left to go. I think we knew how much was coming, so I said, okay, let's not leave ourselves exposed. And MLS is not necessarily a defensive move because he spent most of his time in attacking and left wing, left midfield. So there we go. And then I think not a lot happened. A lot of probing. Not a lot happened really in the period of extra time. And then cometh the 97th minute, cometh the King of Brazil, Gabriel, perfect corner by Odegaard. Pope comes out. I'm not sure he's coming out. Nowhere near it.
Yeah.
I think there was clever play by Saliba to just, again, legally impede him or just get him in his way. So he had to get over him, and then Gabriel's heads home from close range. And he was surrounded by Newcastle players, but he just sort of leaping salmon, and then cue pandemonium, cue limbs, and the celebrations were so funny by the Arsenal players. Saliba, he loses control of his upper body whenever he scored like an important goal, and his tongue hangs out. Raya was there before most of the team. Dowman comes charging in. So that was just what a moment.
Yeah,
did your TV survive?
Yeah, just about because I don't know why I'm thinking of this now, but I wonder what, not that we care about Newcastle fans, but I wonder what Newcastle fans made of Pope, because not only did he, was he in no man's land for the corner itself, but like a minute before that, or less than that, probably 20 seconds before that, he had the ball in his hands and he tried to play a quick ball out for them to go on the attack, and he kicked it straight. I think it was straight to MLS or straight to one of our guys. And
I remember. Yeah,
and from that, we get the corner and we score, and he makes bags of the corner. And if you're a Newcastle fan this morning, thank Christ we're not. You think, because on one hand, Pope probably saved him from a 3-4-1 drubbing, but then cost him right at the death, But it was just an incredible moment. And I don't know what it was. I was getting vibes when that goal went in and all the players ran off. I just thought, you know what, this could be our year. This could be our season. This is what teams do who win the league. And look, Liverpool can say they've done that 5 times this season.
Yeah, but they've done it, babe. They've done it 5 times playing shit. Okay?
Yes, they're playing really bad.
We played well, and we deserved that today. Yeah. They haven't deserved their wins.
No, 100% agree. And it was an incredible moment. My TV survived just about, but the eardrums of my family did not.
No, it was. I think that's the most. I haven't celebrated like that for a long time. Hugging strangers and just going mental. People running around up and down the stairs along the it was just so good. And I think maybe that Pope thing was one of those ones. You try and make up for it even more. So you've made the mistake, and you compound the mistake by making up. But the corner was so good, and Gabriel's so powerful, his header. even if he was standing in his goal, he's not stopping that.
No,
So I don't think it's just the quality of the
of the
the
delivery.
set piece and the delivery.
Yeah.
And yeah, set piece again. Ole. We scored on our 11th and 12th corners, and who gives a shit? They're all goals. They all count. And if you can't
Mhm.
stop us, we're going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
So
Did you see the comp that's going around this evening of all Gabby's kind of winners or his goals from set pieces, like against City, against Spurs, against Liverpool?
wow.
It's only about a minute and 10 seconds, but it's fantastic. It's just Gabby just getting like just bullet headers and
Yeah.
fantastic.
No, it's great. And so look, game over. Get the fuck in. It was just glorious. Just the biggest smiles. And talking of the Geordies, you know how much they feel. You know they lose to Liverpool in the 100 and whatever minute, and they lose to us in the 98th, both at St James's Park. But frankly, who cares?
Good enough for them.
Yeah. Yeah, so Arteta, and I think Arteta said a few things. Oh no, this was Saka on getting a result against Newcastle. There are a few things we can speak about. For example, the penalty. For me, if we have VAR, it is for clear and obvious error, and the fact that it took the ref that long to decide shows it's not a clear and obvious error. It's things like this that always go against us, but today we got what we deserved, and that's why we were all so happy. It doesn't matter now, does it? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't, Bukayo. And Arteta said, for me, it was a penalty. We were told unless it's clear and obvious, VAR won't intervene. Thank God we found a way to win. Yes, we did. We did indeed. So, we're not talking about the refs and VAR. We're talking about our win and a few other things in terms of stats. I was because I hadn't seen much of the game, I had to try and trawl through stuff. So that's Arsenal scored their 35th and 36th goals from corners in the Premier League since 23-24, which is now 15 goals more than any other side. 84th minute, that's the latest we've been losing and come back to win. I think the last time was Norwich 3-1 in April 2013. Equalising goal by Mikel Arteta in the 85th minute.
What a player! What a player!
What a player. And then this was Arsenal's first, well, this may be the last time Limbs were like this. This was Arsenal's first Premier League win after being behind at half-time. No, really? I took this stat, but I didn't actually proper read it. This was Arsenal's first Premier League win after being behind at half-time since...
What? Yeah, a game I was at, which is I'm as surprised as you, since Bournemouth at home in March when we were 2-0 down.
Yeah, but I'm surely we've been behind at half time before that. Wow, and the Reece Nelson moment. So I didn't read that stat properly, and now I've just realised. Wow, and look, what a nuts weekend for late goals. What was it? So Haaland in the 90th minute against Burnley, the 92nd minute, Maxim de Kuiper versus Chelsea for Brighton, and then. Krupi Jr. versus Leeds for... Who were they playing? Who were Leeds? Bournemouth in the 93rd minute. Haaland again against Burnley in the 93rd minute. Paulinho for the Spuds against Wolves. Oh, and he took he's celebrating. He's just as dumb as Ekitike. This is Wolves, bottom of the table, and you're celebrating an equaliser like that. Why aren't you going back
home?
At home, why aren't you going back to the halfway line? Matthias Jensen, what a goal against Man United. What a hit. 95th minute. And goal of the weekend that set up yesterday. Eddie Nketiah. Your defence is in trouble. 97th minute versus Liverpool. Danny Welbeck in the 100th minute against Chelsea and Gabby yesterday. So yes, what a weekend, and actually, as you know, it was a great weekend. We had lots of good results go away, and just makes yesterday even sweeter. And so look, it sets us up nicely, I think, for the rest of the season. I think we all looked at the first 6 games and was quite tough. I think we were saying 14 points. Was it win 4, draw 2? 13 points is not bad, and it's only because of a worldie of a free kick. And if it wasn't for that, we'd be top. But it's fine. 2 points off the top.
Yeah.
Best goal. The most defensive team in the country has got the best goal difference. Scoring 12, letting 3. So how do you feel about the overall, how the first 6 games have gone and how we're set for the next few games?
Yeah, I was talking in work earlier on today. There's a guy in my job. He's a big Newcastle fan, and to be fair to him, he goes over to games, and so he's proper,
Yeah.
And I was saying that to him and another guy, a Man United fan, that to be 2 points behind a very very lucky Liverpool tally, having gone away to Anfield. So gone to Anfield, gone to Old Trafford, gone to St James's Park, and played Man City at home. Like, I think that's really impressive. I really do. And as you said, but for an outrageous free kick, we'd be on top. And I again posted yesterday on X saying that our season starts now. We've done a great job on those 6 games, and now the next, amongst the next few games, we have some toughies. Like Brighton's not going to be easy. Even Crystal Palace won't be easy. They're like, it's crazy. Crystal Palace third in the table. It's mental. But
Invincible. They're on track to be invincible.
Yeah, the Invincibles. Yeah, we're going to have to put a stop to that when we play them. So yeah, I'm really, really happy. Really happy. It could have been a little bit better. You talk about the Man City game where we were a little bit too kind of defensive. Maybe.
But if you were to say we beat Man City and draw Newcastle, you would have taken that.
If you're taking 4 from those 2 games, you'd snap the hand off whoever offered it to you. So yeah, no, I'm very happy with that start.
Yeah, and so look, actually, we're 2 points better off this season compared to the equivalent fixtures last season. So we're trending in the right direction. Our next 3 games are West Ham at home, Fulham away, Palace at home, and those 3 games last season, out of 9 points, we got 2. So we can make up on those, and that should be 9 points. We should be winning all those, and that's so we've got to enjoy yesterday. But then we've got to move on and make it count. There's no point winning yesterday, getting that emotion, getting that momentum, and then we play West Ham at home, and who've had a number on us last couple of seasons, and not capitalise on that.
Yeah, and great as well. We haven't said that. It's great that we capitalised on Liverpool losing last season. Every time Liverpool dropped points, we dropped points literally every time, I think. Bar maybe once. So really important to do that. And as you say, we have to. There's no point now not taking 9 points after a performance like that.
And we're having one of those runs where it's quite nice. We don't leave London. We don't play outside of London until November 1st. So again, the travel's kept to a minimum. So look, we've set ourselves up nicely. We still got a lot of work to do, but I think let's capitalize on it. Let's enjoy it, and then forget about it, and move on. And before we do move on, any other players that stood out for you yesterday?
One guy who has impressed me so much this season is Jurrien Timber. He was sensational yesterday and has been sensational so far this season. He's so strong. Like, he's not the biggest guy out there, but my God, is it hard to get the ball off him. There was a great piece of play in the second half when he was out on the right hand side, and he made a show of, it was Bruno and who's the other guy. Like, he had no right to. 2 of them just kind of ganged up on him, and he just danced his way past them and laid the ball off to, I think, Saka. And he impressed me so much yesterday. He was really good. Gyōkeres we've mentioned already as well.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of Timber, and his attacking play is improving all the time. So that was the one thing. Like, okay, White was the better of the attackers, and Timber's the better of the defenders. I think Timber's all-round game is now just going through the roof, and he's amazing. I'd say so far one of the players of the season for us in these opening games. My understanding is also Rice had an incredible game. He was everywhere. He was like lawnmower-esque yesterday, covering every blade of grass. So apparently he had a great game. He was like just had energy levels to burn yesterday. Really, really, like, and used it well. I remember there was a couple of times when I was there, I could see that, his tracking back and his defensive play was great, and then up front, in terms of his set pieces and general influence up front. So I think he was also another one to call out. So there we go, 2-1 against the Geordies. We deserved it. We earned it, and let's enjoy it for as long as you can. And then we move until Wednesday, 8:00, where we play Olympiacos at home in our second game of the Champions League league stages. And looking forward to or not looking forward to anything as far as that game's concerned?
We can't dismiss any teams, and like, look, it should be a handy home win. I'm looking forward to hopefully, seeing that and seeing a few goals go in. Maybe the likes of Gyökeres getting a couple of confidence goals into him. That would be nice. I'm looking here at the Olympiacos lineup from their first Champions League game, because inevitably, even though you don't know a team, inevitably there might be one or two players in there that and I'm looking at them and I haven't a clue who any of them are, and I don't want to jinx anything and I don't want to dismiss them because they're a Champions League team, but I'm looking forward to that. And is there anything I'm not looking forward to? Not really. Just to hope that no injuries, I suppose.
Yeah, was Daniel Podence not in the team?
Well, actually, you're right. You're 100% right, because as I'm looking at it, Podence was there, and I was like, that does ring a bell. Who did he play with?
He used to play for Wolves. Attacking midfielder used to play for Wolves.
There's one.
Yeah, one of the Portuguese. No, I did the same. I looked at their squad. I looked at not just the starting 11. I looked at the whole squad, and he was the only one that stood out. So yeah, he played for Wolves a couple of seasons back. I mean, likewise, just. Yeah, I'm going to the game, so hope for some goals. It shouldn't be the toughest of fixtures, so hopefully it's a bit low stress. It'd be nice to see Gyökeres get a couple of goals, and not looking forward to. Yeah, you're right. I just want to get away with a clean bill of health, no injuries. But in terms of not looking forward to anything, there's not really much to not look forward to. So what do you? So again, so Olympiacos, they're in terms of the team, they're top of the Greek Super League, and they've actually got a big game at the weekend against PAOK Thessaloniki, who so it's first v third. When they played in the Champions, their first game in the Champions League was against Paphos. I don't think it's pronounced like that, but Paphos FC, a team from Cyprus who qualified for the Champions League by beating Dynamo Kiev and the club formerly known as Red Star Belgrade. I'm not going to pronounce their Serbian name. And they drew nil.
And Paphos were down to 10 men after 25 in that game.
Yeah, so you're thinking, hang on, and they've got a club badge which looks like it's got Andy Murray on it. But I don't know, it's got. If you look at their club badge, it looks like Andy Murray.
Like him, yeah.
There we go. But yeah, so look, they drew 0-0. So with that one, so and this is a team from Cyprus. Okay, fair play to them. They qualified for that, but Olympiacos at home against 10 men. So it just shows the sort of standard we're up against, and we've got a bit of history with Olympiacos. I think in the Europa League, there was that one game back in 2020 where we lost at home 2-0, and it was a 120th minute winner. And even after that, we should have won it because Aubameyang, I don't know how, fluffed his lines on the goal line in the 121st minute. We've met quite a few times in the past, but recent history was like back in 2020 and 2021. But yeah, so with that in mind, what would you say? How would you approach this? How do you think Arteta is going to approach this? Is going to be a lot of rotation? We've got West Ham at home, and we were talking about momentum in the league. Do you think we'll make many changes? Yeah, how do you think we'll line up?
I think he'll make some. I think Arteta takes the group stages of the Champions League quite seriously, and he'll want to get points on the board and not risk anything. But I don't think he'll play his strongest 11. Would he play Odegaard from the start? If he could only manage like 10 minutes basically against Newcastle, would he start Odegaard? I don't know. Could he? Is the reason why Ethan wasn't there yesterday because he's lined up to start maybe? But I think we might see Martinelli instead of Trossard. Trossard seems to be the en vogue choice for the left side in the league, so maybe Martinelli might start. But this is the beauty of it. This is the absolute beauty of it, that we've got so many players and such a big squad to choose from that there's no anxiety about who comes in and who doesn't. But I do think he will rest some. He might play Ben White, for example. How do you think he'll go?
I was just trying to look up at the moment while you're doing that. I was trying to look at where's Ethan. I like the idea about Odegaard. So maybe he'll do a job share with Eze, half and half, and and not like a half and half scarf, please. I reckon White will come in. I think Mascara will come in. And then you got Gabriel and Calafiori, maybe MLS. The thing is, Arteta doesn't like to make masses of changes. So even when he rotates, unless it's something like Port Vale away, he like maybe only makes one or two changes. So we'll see. So maybe I'm expecting to see White, potentially Mascara. If no Odegaard, then Eze in midfield, and then Martinelli to start. But then you got Gyōkeres. I think Saka will start, and so on. So maybe two or three changes.
Yeah.
Maybe even Nordgaard. It might be a chance. Go in, win the game early, get the goals, and then you get the change. And Nordgaard comes on. As well. Yeah, you get these. MLS will come on. It's unfortunate Hincapié is injured. But welcome to Arsenal. Come in. Get your shirt. Basically the rule of thumb is that when you sign for Arsenal, you come in, you have the hand on the shoulder photograph, so signing the contract. You do the socials, and then you go and get injured.
You get injured
and straight away. So
apparently, I heard he had surgery. I think during the summer, had he?
Yeah, that's great. He had some surgery, I think, over the summer. So yeah, he did a bit of a Kim Kallström. I think he already turned up a bit injured. So but it's unfortunate because I think maybe we would see him. So I'm just trying to see. I'm just trying to see. It's just it's one of these ones. It's a nothing story. So basically telling us, he wasn't there. Okay. There was no indication. No areas picked up an injury after leaving London. Don't know. Yeah. So basically nothing story. Thank you, Yahoo. Right. So that's I think you'll make some rotations, but not massive. Go win the game early, and then you make the changes there afterwards because we've got West Ham on Saturday coming up, and I think that's a huge game to continue momentum. So with that in mind, what's your prediction for Olympiacos?
I was going to go 4-0, but I'm going to go 3-0. I'll go 3-0.
Yeah, that's exact. I was literally typing that as before you were speaking. Yeah, I think about 3-0, 4-0 should do it. And I think we'll all be buoyed. The crowd will be. Well, it won't be the most boisterous crowd, but at least the crowd will be. I think there'll be a very content crowd following the Newcastle result. So, So there we go. That's Newcastle dispatched. Olympiacos to come, and enjoyed that. So Ian, thank you for joining me today. Really appreciate it. Let the listeners know what you get up to online and how they can find you.
I will not. You need an OnlyFans log in to see what I get up to. No, I'm Art Cannon Pics on all the social media platforms, and I was actually looking today. It's incredible the amount of support I get because, because I'm a bit of a nerd sometimes. I have an Excel sheet for all my cannons I've ever been sent, and we're heading towards 700. And I've posted a cannon every day for, I think it's like 150 days or something like that, which is incredible. But I was looking through my draft, so literally every time I get sent a cannon, I create a post and put it into my drafts, and I counted them today, and I had 94. I have 94 cannons in my drafts, which is like over 3 months worth if I do them one a day. And I have to say thank you to all the people out there who send them in. It's incredible. Like it took me, I think it was like just over 3 years to get my first 100 cannons, and here we are 150 days in a row, and another 94 to come. It's so
Super.
Yeah. But that's what I do. So you just, if you see a cannon anywhere in the world, take a picture of it and send it to me.
So you don't like that comment. The comment on one of your posts says you just take pictures of cannons.
That's right. Yeah.
Shut up. I was trying to find that comment because I was going to bring it out today. He said, "Oh, you just take pictures of cannons. Piss off," or something. Otherwise, I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
I was going to correct him, but
yeah. That's right. Yeah. That was a disgruntled Newcastle fan.
Yeah, it's very funny. Okay, good stuff. Anyway, thank you, Ian. Love that. And look, you can follow us at the Grove AFC on the socials, Threads, Blue Sky, Insta, TikTok. Wherever there are socials, we'll try and be there. Our next show will be post Olympiacos, pre West Ham. And as I said at the beginning, small favour if you're still here listening. leave us a comment, a rating, subscribe, follow, like, all of that, and it really helps us boost our numbers and get new followers. So yeah, really, really appreciate that. So go away.
We
Go
won't
on.
we won't say who, but we're going to have another community cast coming soon as well.
Indeed. There's a surprise guest coming up. So yeah, we will. We'll do that very, very soon. So thank you for reminding me, and yeah, keep your ears out for that as well. And I started saying go away, and then Ian stepped in. So I was just about to say go away, drink, enjoy the moment, drink in all those salty tears. Go and find all the social posts, all the videos, everything. You've got to enjoy these moments. It may mean nothing at the end of the day, but let's enjoy it for what it is now. But I think you're right, Ian. This could be the start of something beautiful, as they say. And thank you for listening. And as always, until the next time, come on, you Gunners.